In today's video, we explore the catacombs of Odessa in Ukraine. The catacombs of Ukraine span up to 2,500 kilometers in length. They were used for stone mining at first, and then smuggling and other criminal activities later, during and after World War II. Today we explore them.
The place that people prepare the food.
Okay.
Maybe.
Kitchen.
Kitchen, yeah.
Our guide Valentine is a mountain of knowledge and has been exploring these chambers since he was 8 years old. He has some serious stories to tell.
Methamphetamine, marijuana, some other drugs, and they very like to use it in the catacombs. In 2004, 13 years ago, some young digger find a dead body in the catacombs. My last skeleton I find in 2012.
So sit back, guys, and together we'll explore these fascinating catacombs. Alright guys, today I'm going to the catacombs of Odessa in Ukraine. For those of you that don't know, there are catacombs below the city of Odessa, bigger than the catacombs below the city of Paris. Gonna go meet my guide now. I have no idea what to expect. It's gonna be interesting to go in a cave network this big. Let's go. Alright guys, just arriving at the entrance to the catacombs here. Meet up with my guide Valentine here. And just got a bus for like 14 kilometers I think, from the city center out until this kind of rural area. And here we have the entrance here. Going to explore now. So who put this concrete here?
In the times of Second World War, partisan squads hid in the catacombs. Odessa was been occupied by the Romanian army. Romania was a satellite of fascist Germany, and Romanian soldiers began to close all the entrances with the concrete walls. Only after the war, local people break this hole to use the catacombs.
And so you said that a lot of the entrances in the city were closed. How many entrances are on the outside of the city center?
About 50 maybe, not more.
50? Okay.
Yes. Historian says in the times of Second World War, Romanian occupants closed about 800 entrances.
Wow.
Before the revolution we have thousands entrances, really. More than 1,000. We must bend now, we have very low passage.
Okay.
Just 6 meters long, but we must bend very far. Now we are around the corner. I propose to switch off the flashlights and stay about 2 minutes in the darkness. Sometimes children ask me when we begin to see something. Of course, never, there is no source of light,
Right.
but children cannot realize that. Is there some animals in the catacombs? Maybe they mean some dangerous animals. Of course, no. In catacombs, in general, in catacombs living only bats, rats and foxes.
Have you had people get really scared on your group and run away or?
2 times in my life I have dealt with the people who have claustrophobia. They can feel it in the first 10 meters. They come in the catacombs and say, no, 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 it's not for me. And of course, it is the end of the tour. Now we have the second low passage, but it is the last one. Just 5 meters to go, but we must end. Please look at the wall. We can see the old date, 1848. Most part of the system was been created in the end of 19th century, some parts even in the beginning of 20th century, I mean.
So all the things that you see on the internet about being used for a grave after World War II, is that true or is that?
What? Sorry.
World War II?
Ah, of course people used in the times of war catacombs like a shelter.
Did they put dead people here?
You mean skeletons?
Yes.
No,
Yes, my last skeleton I find in 2012, 5 years ago, and before it in 2008. This guy was been killed in 90s, about 25 years ago. After the crash of Soviet Union, we have very corrupted time in history of our country. The skeleton was being hidden very accurately, and this guy has 2 holes in the skull. Maybe he was been killed with a pistol. And we collect the bones and rebury this guy. Even nowadays we can see the skeleton of the German soldier. Many years we can see the German casket, helmet nearby him.
Have you been to the Paris catacombs?
Never, I only see the photos.
Right.
Only the photos.
Would you like to go?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. It's amazing place. We need to stay, but just for 1 minute we visit this room just to see a picture. Maybe it's not so interesting too, but it's important. All the people who visit in the catacombs, who hide in the catacombs, leave some inscriptions, some pictures on the walls. This type of picture is very typical in another systems of catacombs. Miners very like to draw how they work in the catacombs. They really use the help of horses to pull out the carriages with the stones to the entrance. In the June of 2015, 2 guys and 1 girl, 14 years old, come in the catacombs and lost the way. And only in the second day the rescue team find them.
And what about the famous girl?
It was a very strange story. In 2004, 13 years ago, some young digger find a dead body in the catacombs of Arcadia. Arcadia is a resort district of our city. But to tell the truth, I don't know, it's true or some false fact, because we have only photo of this girl and no another man can
Prove it.
prove this word. Yeah. And this picture is really old. Even the first explorers tells us that they can see this picture. I'm not sure that I'm right, but I think it's a witness of the first Russian Revolution. It was in 1905. In 1905 we have the first revolution in Russian Empire. It was non-successful revolution. It begins from the rebellions on the military ships. In other words, the first revolutionaries was the mariners, military mariners. The revolutionaries very like to use the catacombs like a place to hide a weapon, like a shooting range. They really learn how to shoot in the catacombs. For example, in the village Usato, very often we can see revolutionary slogans on the wall. We won't live in the Republic, f*** off the Emperor, some stupid words. And the dates is 1905, 1906, and very often we find nearby that inscription some gun shells, some gun cartridges.
Are there still parts of the mine that are still in use?
What you mean about this field?
In the catacombs, are there still mines that are working today?
Yes, about 50 kilometers from the city center, in the village Kovalyovka, we have the mine that's working today, but it is our last mine. The reason is, before the crash of Soviet Union, we have about 20 mines. After the crash of Soviet Union, in 90s, we have very corrupted time, like the times of the gangsters, really. And the management of the mines steal the equipment and sell it, and we lost our stone industry.
Wow.
Really, the management of the mine kills the stone industry. By the way, about the depth of the catacombs, it's very different. From 5 meters till 40 meters. Behind this wall we have a very bad place. They try to border it, to part it. What is this place? Maybe it's too hard to believe, but behind this wall we can see the lake of shit. It's very bad new tradition, it's very big shame of Odessa. About 25, maybe 30 years ago, people begin to drill the holes in the catacombs and leak the canalization in the catacombs. Behind this wall, about 40 years ago, the old explorers of catacombs created a base camp, the place for the rest. Maybe they hide some equipment, some candles, some food in this place. They don't want that another guys can find it and try to camouflage the passage. But it doesn't work. We can see so many people steps around. Now we have very low passage.
Okay.
We mustn't stay on the knees, just like in this direction. Please don't hurry. Be careful. Don't hurry, be careful. Yes, yes. Be careful. Oh,
Thank you.
I propose to sit about 5-10 minutes with the candles to feel ourselves like in the old times that people have no electrician light.
Okay.
Looks like some satanic ritual.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. What, you didn't know that it was?
He went to like kill the cat.
Yeah.
Bring the blood.
Did you read about that girl?
The girl who died.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Did you hear about
What's
it?
the story? Tell me.
Apparently there was a group of like drunk friends or something that came down here, and then like one of them got lost from their other friends, and apparently she just passed out, and then apparently she just died of hunger because she was just walking around in the dark and couldn't find a way out or something.
That's crazy. Why didn't like her friends call the police or something?
I'm not sure. There was something about like foul play, but I don't know.
About what?
Foul play, like they tried to cover it up or something. I don't know what exactly happened, but there's no evidence, and there's lots of like conspiracy theories and stuff.
Crazy.
It's very strange story, nobody knows it's true or some fake. This guy who finds this dead body swears it's true, but they have no another proof. It's very strange.
And what about her family? Say anything?
Only this guy tells about this fact. It was 13 years ago, and
You believe it or you just don't know?
no, it's a very strange situation because the policemen must extract this body and retrieve it. Yes, the policemen, the special service, take out this body only through the 3 years. As for me, it's impossible. It's unreal.
It said that the body just sat there for ages and nobody moved it.
To celebrate the New Year in our catacombs is so popular, even the diggers and the speleologists from another countries, from other cities, I mean, from Kiev, from Minsk, before the war, even from St. Petersburg and Moscow, coming in Odessa, especially to celebrate the New Year in the catacombs. In other countries, for example in France, it's a very good tradition to organize some concerts, some underground techno parties in the catacombs, but in Odessa we have just one in 2016, 1.5 years ago. Young people organized the first techno party in our catacombs. It was in the same village, but in the neighboring system of catacombs. They chose very good, reliable hall. It was non-commercial, very small techno party just for friends, about 50 persons, maybe not more. But real techno party with the loudspeakers, with the turntable, they organized even the stone bar with the drinks.
Is it dangerous though with the music?
Yes, of course, because of it they choose the reliable hall. Because it's really dangerous to make a loud sound in the catacombs.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's fun. Very rare, as I know, it was just 4 times in our history, but sometimes people organize their weddings in the catacombs. I read in historical book that before the revolution and first 10 years after the revolution, in 20s, thousands and thousands homeless persons use the catacombs like a home, but nowadays maybe nobody. I tell about the gangsters, thieves and other criminal people in the past in the catacombs. Modern criminal people use the catacombs or no? No. 100 years ago it was like a tradition, all the criminal people use the catacombs, but modern criminality prefer some restaurants, some nightclubs, some nice places. They don't want to live in these bad conditions. Young generation in our country, it's very bad fact, but they begin to use the drugs very often. Methamphetamine, marijuana, some another drugs, and they very like to use in the catacombs. But it's not criminal people, just some stupid teenagers.
Do you say that criminals used to come here in the 1900s, in the 20th century?
Yes.
And what were they doing? What kind of criminal activity were they doing?
Usually thieves, smugglers. Very often they use the catacombs like a way to run away out of the policemen.
Okay.
The police in Russian Empire don't know the catacombs. People who come in the catacombs was in safety because the policemen don't know the catacombs.
And this is just graffiti?
What?
This is just teenagers or?
Yes, all the people who visit in this place leave some names, some signatures.
Okay.
Please be careful.
Спасибо.
And so why do you like the catacombs so much?
It begins in the childhood. Firstly, I visited the catacombs when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. From my childhood, I like some underground spaces.
Before you were a guide, what job did you do?
I sell the music disc. It was very good job, but the internet kills it. Now we can see another old date, 1886 on the wall. Very often we can see the dates from this period, 80s and 90s years of 19th century. The giant labyrinth of catacombs was been created from this moment, in the end of 19th century. Only in the beginning of 20th century criminal people can use the catacombs like a long secret way. This brown dust on the floor. If you look attentively, it contains very many particles of rotten straw, some rotten plants. It is the same that I've told you, people try to cover the stone bed with a layer of plants to make it warmer. Now it's rotten and it becomes brown. If you have happiness to find some place looking like this one in unexplored system of catacombs, with guarantee we can find old coins, gun cartridges, gun shells, old bottles, old pottery, some dishes, sometimes even the hidden documents, but the paper is rotten completely. For example, 4 years ago in 2013, I find 2 hidden rifles, but we can break this rifle with the hands. It's completely rotten.
They were weapons from 1944.
Yes.
And in 1944, when they were building this, how did they cut the limestone?
A big handsaw.
Handsaw.
Yes, it was a really very big handsaw and very heavy, and this handsaw helped the miner with the weight to cut it.
Right.
Yes.
Would have taken many men.
Yes. To tell the truth, it was a very difficult, very hard, very dangerous job. Before the revolution, our miners have very low salary, non-prestigiable job.
And some people died while building this?
Yes, historian says before the revolution, every year about 40-50 miners dies in the mine because they collapses. There was no technical rules before the revolution, and the owners of the mines were very greedy people, and very often they ordered the workers make very wide passages. It's very dangerous.
Right.
After the revolution, the Soviet government make the technical rules. For example, the width of the passage mustn't be more than 3 meters 20 centimeters. Before the revolution, people make 5 meters wide, 6 meters wide, and very many miners died.
So people used to sleep in here?
Sometimes I think maybe in just supposition, maybe it was the stove, the place that people prepare the food.
Okay.
Maybe.
Kitchen.
Kitchen, yeah.
You've been here so many times that you just know every direction, what way to go?
When I was a young boy in 80s, it was my favorite system. Maybe from 1986 till 1990, about 4 years, I very like the system and I try to check all the passages, all the rooms. Of course, from this time I forget very many rooms, very many passages, but of course I know all the important roads, some interesting places.
So when you were a teenager, you would spend hours and hours down here?
Yes. Sometimes we find in some unknown catacombs some stone wall, and we hope maybe behind the stone wall we can see some completely unexplored catacombs. We begin to take out the stones, and instead of unknown catacombs we can see tens and tens of glass cans with the cucumbers, tomatoes, jam, some another food. In the historical books we can read that in the past, before the revolution, even in the city center we have the private entrances in the catacombs. But as I know, the Soviet policemen in 20s forbidden it and closed all the private entrances in the city, because the criminal people like to read. Please be careful, this brown dust, it is the same shameful fact that I tell you. It's a modern new toilet. About 1 year ago, in the last summer, man drilled a hole and made the...
So this is sewage?
Yes. My colleagues begin to border it, but only begin. We must work maybe about 3 days to make it completely. About 20 years ago, some young explorers make it just for fun. They very like to tell for the beginners some story about the speleologist who dies in these catacombs, and they means that his ghost roaming around in the passages. And in memory of this guy, we must to stay some cigarettes or little coins. In the city center and in the districts around the city center, I see maybe more than 10 bomb shelters in the catacombs in my life. If you find a steel door like this one in the city center, and if we open it, we can see the concrete walls, a lot of electrician cables on the ceiling, some living rooms, some dining rooms, even the toilets. Usually we can see old, completely rusted electrician generator. But there is no bomb shelters in the suburbs and villages. What is it? It is the private entrance. If you open this door, it looks like a mine shaft with a steel downstairs. The owner of this territory have the possibility every moment visiting the catacombs. Please be careful in the same situation with a lake of clay. We must use the stones nearby the left side, nearby the left wall.
Wow.
It is the second level of the catacombs.
So 2 stories.
Yes, the second story.
Right.
Yes. Why it collapsed? Because the miners in the second level were very greedy. They make too high ceiling and it collapsed. The second level is much smaller than upper. Upper level is really giant, but the second level, maybe 4 or 5 hours, we can inspect all the passages, all the rooms. Not so big.
How old are the drawings of the boats?
Mostly we find the dates 1905, 1907. Maybe this the same period.
Wow.
About 110 years ago.
So is this the first story or still the second story?
Oh no, how to say, it's beginning of the
Incline.
the second inclined passage, and we are in the upper story.
Okay.
Very often we can find things like this. Even 6 years ago we can see hundreds and hundreds gun shells in this place, but all the teenagers collected just like souvenirs maybe. Animal skeletons we find every month maybe, because people who throw the garbage in the catacombs, of course they throw the dead bodies of the animals. Some animals in the catacombs who lives in the catacombs die, some dogs, foxes, bats, rats.
And the sun's out. It's nice.
For happy, today is a really nice weather.
So we just came out from underneath that little house there. Alright guys, so back from the tour, just so much history and facts coming out of Valentin there, but he covered enough for you to understand really. I think I don't have to repeat much of what he said. Obviously heaps of history in there, you know, some of the poems and things on the wall were written in the early 20th century, so just going back years and years, absolutely fascinating. If you're in Odessa, definitely check that out. Thank you to Moving in Ukraine, the tour company, for sorting out that tour for me. I've just met up with another person from Moving in Ukraine tour company, Igor, and he's showing me around this market here. Super cool locals market, and that'll be hello. Thank you. Super cool locals there. If you're in Odessa, come check out those catacombs. Fascinating. Now I'm gonna start another video exploring this amazing market. I think we're gonna grab some food, so that'll be the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Really raw, just footage, just show you how it really is. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.